Here we are again, reacting to another Cowboys playoff performance. Oh, man. Some things never change, guys. Some things never change. And hey, if you've been watching the show, you've been watching the program, famous Dallas Cowboys defender here. Not really a defender. I root for one player on their entire team, and these two call me a borderline Cowboys fan. But hey, I'll take all of the slack you want to throw my way because there's nothing worse than what the Chargers have done this year. And I don't really care about the Cowboys that much, actually. But Joe, I'm sure you're enjoying it, right?
No, Mike. Why would I be enjoying it? I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. I thought the Cowboys, this was the year. I was building the Cowboy fan base up, giving them hope, saying, yes, all those times that you said, this is your year. It is your year. Just to look into the crystal ball and see the same shit over and over. What a glorious day for everybody in football. It's a great day when the Dallas Cowboys get their ass kicked and we get this. You know what's funny is the networks know. The networks know just to go to the fans. Just show us the fans and all them crying ass Cowboy fans. The only thing better comes next week when it happens to the Niners too.
Go Pat, go.
What do you say?
I say go Pat, go. The Packers could literally save all of us. They could save all of us. They eliminate the Cowboys with the first round, and then they go into the second round and eliminate the Niners, the two teams that no one wants to see go in the NFC.
Well, I forgot, and this is my fault, and this is my fault for doing it. Is I forgot when it comes to playoff football, it's not about how good your team is. It's not how good your roster is. It's about who the hottest teams are going into the playoffs. And I totally forgot that. We've seen bad teams win Super Bowls before. They just get hot at the right time. And looking at the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers after the last 2 days, you're like, damn, these teams are hot right now. And nothing Green Bay did yesterday. Jordan Love was throwing up weird-ass passes, and he was completing them. Like, there was nothing that they could do wrong yesterday.
Yeah, not me, Harrison, that's for sure. I would agree with that. Like, Jordan Love was impressive, but what was more impressive was Dan Quinn on the verge of being one of the hottest coaching candidates where it's like, oh, all the rumors are that Pete Carroll's out because they want Dan Quinn to come back there, but Quinn's got options. He could go to these different teams. If you watch that performance, this is what I was asking you guys yesterday about the Ben Johnson thing, was like, it's the same thing that happened to Michael Penix. If Texas completes that comeback, the last thing people remember is Penix lighting up Texas defense. Instead, he has to go on and he gets destroyed by Michigan, and now that's what people remember. This is all people are going to be thinking about for the Dan Quinn situation. Like, if you're an owner and you're like, wait, so in the biggest game of the year, he let a first-time playoff performing quarterback torch him for, like, I don't know if it was a perfect passer rating, but it was pretty damn close if it wasn't. And it was like, it wasn't just that these guys were like making great plays, because if you ask me who played better, Matthew Stafford played better in a loss than Jordan Love played in a win. Like, he made so many more big time contested throws that had to be made in that game. Jordan Love had Musgrave so wide open on a play. I was like, they have to have 13 guys on the field. Like, how the fuck is Musgrave wide open there? It was like a rock and jock football game. Like, he just tagged in from the sideline and was able to start 30 yards downfield. Like, how were guys getting that open? That touchdown that he threw to Wicks right there was like, he left Stephon Gilmore in just a crazy, like, disadvantageous opportunity to cover that wide receiver for a touchdown. And then you go to the other side and it's like, just all of the chaos over there. It was glorious to watch. As somebody who loves to root against the Cowboys, especially because the last two times the Cowboys have played the Chargers, I've gotten text messages from people that I haven't heard from in a while. Like, oh shit, you found my phone number real quick to remind me that the Chargers lost to the Cowboys by 3 points 2 times in a row in SoFi. Like, I get it. Cowboys fans, you guys travel well. Fantastic. But now... We're traveling for vacation.
Cowboy haters, Tony. Where are we going? Even as a Cowboy hater, could you imagine that? Like, did you wanting the Cowboys to lose? You never pictured them getting their ass kicked just like they did from a number 7 seed, a number 1 offense going into the game, Tony, with the Dallas Cowboys. You had the best pass rush or pressures in the league from that defense. Even the biggest Cowboy hater, and I hate the Cowboys, and I love giving the Cowboy fans a bunch of crap. Nobody could envision what we saw yesterday, and when it was 21-0, like people are coming out. I saw Rex Ryan today saying, "Don't blame Dak Prescott. Don't blame him on that loss. Blame that defense." And I'm sitting there and going, "Yeah, there's no way I would hire Dan Quinn after today's game." But you have to blame people. This is people that don't watch football, Tony. People that don't watch football look at the box score and they saw that Dak Prescott threw for 400 yards, and they're like, "Well, it's not Dak's fault." The fuck it ain't. Did you not see him throw that pick six? Right?
Two pick sixes.
Yeah, 2 pick sixes in that game. Dak looked horrible. I think he only had 86 yards at halftime. It's something like that, right? Is that like 86 yards? It was 40. I don't know what it was, 46-16 or something like that. And then he started to throw all those passes. Come on. Don't look at the box score, people, and be like, Dak did good. No, he didn't. Well,
a lot of the yards and stuff came in the garbage time. Throwing against the youngest secondary in the NFL. Like, that's the part that baffles me in this. It looked like the roles were flipped. The Cowboys looked like the team that never been there before. The Cowboys looked like the team loaded with young talent, making a ton of mistakes in their first playoff game. Or it was flipped completely. The Cowboys were terrible in this game. And that's what I was about to say, Joe. How could you not put any blame on Dak Prescott? They lost 48-32, I think was the final score. And he threw 14 points to the other team. So just a little bit of math there, and we got a close game. If he doesn't throw those 2 passes, despite his defense just completely folding.
But if we were still playing fantasy football, I would love that from Dak Prescott. Garbage points are good points. But we're talking about playoff football, and nobody gives a damn. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, did you guys hear the story? I just heard this yesterday after the game. That everything that Dak did this season was to prepare him for Las Vegas. So he was buying like Louis Vuitton stuff just so it had LV. So every time he woke up and looked around, he saw LV everywhere because he wanted to go to Vegas. And that was his plan all year, just to be a first-round exit.
I didn't hear that, but it sucks that story got out before getting to Vegas. Because that's the kind of shit that you want for that lead up for that week to Vegas. You know, it's like, oh, we're about to sit down with Dak Prescott, and he's going to tell you about how he manifested his destiny getting to Las Vegas by buying Louis Vuitton luggage. What a luxury that must be, too. Like, I just want LV in my life, so I'm going to buy a $6,000 suitcase. It wasn't just Dak. It wasn't just Dan Quinn. It was the entire thing. It was the entire operation from when, like, you saw them almost being a little confused that they would send that the Packers would choose to have their offense on the field first against the mighty Cowboys defense. Like, it was sort of like, oh, we're starting with the strong point of our team, because it's not been a secret, even in camp, when all those guys were like calling Dak a bitch or whatever they were saying to him. And people are like, do you guys remember that when like Trayvon Diggs was talking shit to him, and they're like, who talks to their quarterback like that? How do you talk about the leader of your team? And it's like, oh, well, this is just healthy trash talk competition. The Cowboys and Micah Parsons especially think that the Cowboys are a defensive-led football team. So, like, for them to go, oh, well, the Packers, they want to go on the field first against us, and then they went out there, and on that first drive, the only person that looked like he was engaged in the game was Tank. Was DeMarcus Lawrence still looks like one of the baddest dudes on the football field. Just like, there's a tackle for loss on one of those plays where he's like one arm into a guy's chest, driving him backwards on a tackle for loss.
Was that the one where he threw the offensive tackle into Aaron Jones?
Yes. It was like he was making some plays where you're like, do you know how strong you'd have to be to force a 325-pound human being like that? Like, when he doesn't want to be go south, he's trying to go north, and you just fucking from that first drive, it's like, oh shit, they're in trouble. Like, and then the second drive, like we were texting in that thing, it's like, this game could not have started any worse. It literally could. There's like no way that the game could have gone. It would have been better for them to hit one play 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game than the way that it actually, like, just kicking their ass all the way down the field on that first drive.
Hey, Tony, does it piss you off that Jordan Love went out there and had a great game? Now the Packers, like, there's no question the Packers have found another fucking great quarterback to lead them for another couple years.
Well, I mean, we should settle a little bit on the great talk. I mean,
at least very good.
He's been very good. The final.
I have to say he's great, Tony, because he's the first quarterback out of Bakersfield, California, to start and win a playoff game.
And that's big. And you should be happy about that. You should actually get a poster of that.
I have it ready. I have it right. I have it ready.
You should do that. I would like to say, Packers fans, you know who they should thank for all this confidence? Brandon Staley. Because going into that Packers Chargers game, and come on, guys, we all know this. Like the Packers were on the verge of like heading really south. The GM and the coach were both talking shit. Like, Jordan's got to step up. He's got to prove it. And then who comes into town? The worst defense in the NFL. And he lit them up in that game. And it was a home game for him. It was great. But ever since that, he's just been riding high all the way through the season. It's been just fantastic for Jordan Love. He's played really well. He played really well yesterday. Like, he's really good. And they've definitely found somebody that I would feel more comfortable giving a contract to. Like yesterday, we talked about giving money to Tua. I'd feel more comfortable giving money to Jordan Love than I would be giving money to Tua. There's a little bit of Daniel Jones worry when I think about it. Like, is this just sort of a one-year run? Like, are people going to be able to watch this 7-game stretch that they had here and make him look bad heading into next year? But then you also got to think, like, LaFleur will just figure it out again. He's a good coach. He wasn't just made by inheriting Aaron Rodgers. He spent 3 years developing this young man, and now this guy's thrown, like 40 touchdowns this year? He's having a tremendous year.
Yeah, what impressed me most yesterday especially was what he did under pressure. The Cowboys were sending the house at him in multiple situations. He stood in there, bought that extra second, taking shots, delivering accurate passes down the field. That's all you can do. And that's why those guys are getting wide open on some of those plays, Tony, is Jordan Love's ability to hold on to that ball to the absolute last second. And that last second is the receiver breaking off at the top of his route and separating from the man coverage, which going into this game, felt like the Cowboys were a little bit overrated in. Everyone was talking about their man coverage being the best in the league, and it got exposed. Got exposed in front of everybody in this one. And, man, this is tough because I was telling you guys before, I don't know if you ever told me which one was the worst one. The Cowboys just can continue to do this to their fans just for decades and decades of time. Like, things that I've forgotten about, it was so long ago. Like the Tony Romo fumbled snap against the Seahawks, or, the Dez game where he caught it or not caught it. There's just been so many moments over the years where the Cowboys have floundered come playoff time. Hey, Mike, I don't have to remind you of the year that they ran out the clock when they were down.
Yeah. It's a bold strategy.
Do you want to be the one to call Stephon Gilmore and just let him know, like, hey, maybe next year you could just spend time with your family and not come back?
I still think that he's solid, but you shouldn't be isolating him in man coverage on 3rd and 7 anymore. I don't think he's that good anymore.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes right here, and I just want to let you guys know. Maybe you guys can give me a little bit of flowers. Sometimes I throw a lot of bullshit out. Okay, I throw a lot of bullshit out all the time. But just to let you guys know, I had the Green Bay Packers going 10-7, taking second place in the division, and being the 7th seed going into the playoffs. Just to let you guys know.
We also had the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl.
Hey, let's focus on our wins, Mike. This is a show of positivity.
You got to try to bring us down,
dude. Brotherhood that props each other up here, not tears each other down.
You can be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Joe.
Way to go, Joe. Woo!
You don't bring the other crap in there. Like, dang.
Speaking of prop people up, Tony, what about Romeo Doubs yesterday?
He was fantastic. of the few catches that were difficult, they were made by him. Like of the ones where it was like great throws and coverage, like he was absolutely phenomenal. Let's keep talking about the Cowboys though.
You know what? Let's build the Cowboy fans up, Tony.
No, we don't need to build the Cowboy fans up. We need to remind the Cowboys fans, like, congratulations. This is like Groundhog's Day. You saw your shadow and the season's over. I don't exactly know how that saying works, but I think it applies here. The Cowboys last year fire Kellen Moore, and Mike McCarthy says, he has that weird statement where he sounds like he doesn't like points. He wants to run the football more. If your idea was to run the football more and the plan to come into this season was to run Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, and to draft a 5'5" running back out of Kansas State, like that was your plan to be a running football team this year. Like when I watched the game yesterday, I go, it doesn't feel like Dallas football. And it hasn't really felt like Dallas football all year because the times that they've been successful, going all the way back to the triplets days when I was younger, is that the identity is strong offensive line, we run the football. With Tony Romo, strong offensive line, DeMarco Murray's running the football. Then Zeke comes in. Then Dak comes in. And Zeke's still there, and he's running the football. Now, all of a sudden, it's like they're down a little bit last year because Zeke loses a step. They should have been looking for that next running back in the draft, especially when they gave Tony Pollard a franchise tag. There's nothing wrong with drafting two running backs. Let's say you want to have the beautiful story where you draft your scout's son. You want to have Deuce Vaughn come in and you want to have that. I do think Deuce Vaughn can be a nice gadget player in the NFL. I think he's a good, hardworking football player. Like he can take, but you can't build a running game around Rico Dowdle and Tony Pollard and have the same kind of success that you've had in the past. Like you have to have that's sort of sledgehammer north and south, like guy that's just more of the traditional bell cow. Even if you don't use them like that, you still should have the split with Pollard. Like Tony Pollard was super effective in his role. Why would you change something that's not broken? This idea that we need to get you more touches is what happened with Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was so much more successful when he was not asked to be the every down back because you're getting beat up and then you can't reproduce it. So I look at the Cowboys and I'm like, I don't really think they're broken. I just think that the message that what the team should have been was missed. And it's going to be interesting to see how much they blow things up. Because yesterday on the show, we all said, they lose this game, McCarthy's getting fired. There's too many good coaches right now for Jerry Jones to sit through that and not pivot.
There's a hero coming to Dallas.
There's a hero, my hero. We all sang different songs.
We sang all three of us sang different hero songs.
I don't even know if mine was a real song. I just kind of made it.
Hero.
I didn't want the copyright on it, so I just made it.
Take away my pain. You can take.
What's up, Joker? How you doing today?
Yeah, well, this is one coach that won't be available to the Cowboys. I'll tell you that much.
I can tell you what's going to happen with that interview, Joker. To go a little bit off the count, Jim Harbaugh is going to interview with the Chargers. He's going to ask them questions, and then at the end of the day, reports are going to come out. Jim Harbaugh is going back to Michigan.
I mean, yeah, who's interviewing who? Who's interviewing who in this situation? You think?
Didn't he do it last year with the Vikings? He was like, or 2 years ago, he was like, going back.
He's done it 2 years in a row. He did it with the Vikings job 2 years ago. He did it with the Broncos job last year. This year is the year he takes the leap. He was just waiting for, the opportunity to coach Justin Herbert. That's it.
In California, too. It's beautiful.
Now, Tony, yesterday we talked about this, and I've been talking about this. I put a video up about this, so if you guys want to go to my Instagram and check it out. I asked you guys yesterday this question, and I still got to ask you guys again today. What the fuck is a pass interference in the NFL? Because I have no idea what it is yesterday, especially, I'm not saying the outcome of the games could be determined by these plays, right? But when momentum is stopped, when it's a third down big play and you don't throw the flag, you hold on to it, and it's blatant. Like, I'm not talking about like the little arm thing. I'm talking about when you're holding Puka Nacua and you're holding David Njoku, when you're doing these plays, like those are big momentum swifts. And that when you change momentum in the middle of the game, it can destroy somebody.
Well, the Rams players in the post-game press conferences and everything, they sounded like they thought in their minds that they got screwed and they don't feel like they could say anything. It seemed like
McVay got tackled by two people on one of those plays. Like the ball wasn't even near him, and one guy hit him from the front and one guy hit him from the back, and then the ball falls right next to the collision, and they're like, incidental contact. Yeah, it's called a tackle. It's not incidental. Yeah. It's called a fucking tackle.
It's clear pass interference. We've seen way less called in the past. Way less than that.
Well, and the Super Bowl last year was horrible. It wasn't nice. Like, it was pass interference, but it wasn't pass interference. Like, those are the ones I don't want you to call. But when the guy is holding you and he's like trying to do the San Francisco hug from the back, that's what I'm talking about.
And man, DBs are tricky. As a former DB who watched other DBs play really well while I bench rode, but the DBs are tricky, man. They're cheating as much as they can already. So when they do something blatant, they should get called.
It's, again, we talked about this yesterday a lot about officiating. It is tough to officiate, to make a ruling on these plays, but on some of them, there has to be like you said, Mike, the guy just has an earpiece in, and New York calls in and says, "Hey, you gotta give a call. You gotta call something right there. You have to."
I completely forgot about this. Goff was involved with that PI no call where the Saints receiver got tackled, and he's involved in this one. And in my personal opinion, if they call that was the dagger. The Rams will win the game if they call that pass interference.
And I sent you guys McVay's quote yesterday, right? Where after the game he said, "I don't want to say anything right now that gets me in trouble. I don't want to take away the credit, and hats off to the Detroit Lions." So Sean McVay, stand-up guy after the game, but you know how pissed off he was.
Stafford looked like a fucking hobo or something in his press conference. He looked rough. They were asking him about the Detroit fans and stuff, and he basically was like, "I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want to get off of this podium."
You know what was fucked up? When Stafford took that hit late in the game, he got like hit from one side, hit from the other side, and then the dude stepped on him, and you saw him like walking. And then I think the announcer said something like, "This reminds him of his Detroit days," or "This is what he did when he played for the Detroit Lions." Always looking at that ceiling.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Stafford on his back looking at the lights. He's used to it, is what they said.
Yeah, that's great commentary. I'll take that, but it's like
it's also kind of a.
I thought Stafford got knocked the fuck out on that play. He got body slammed.
If you go back and look at it, his eyes are like rolled into the back of his head. It also is like, as much as it is a compliment, I guess, or like a shout out to the Lions and how they're playing, like it's also a shot at the Lions organization over the last 60 years or whatever it is. So I did think that the officiating was a little kind of tilted into more of the favor of the Lions in the game, but that's the best game we've gotten of the first four. Yeah. Like, we better get more of those kind of games to like today. I want to see. And really, like, Sean McVay can be as mad as he wants, but to keep throwing fade routes to a clearly still hampered Cooper Kupp, like that's what they were doing. It's like, why are you continuing to do this when Kupp is showing that he's still a step late on everything? He's still working his way back, or clearly the injuries have caught up with him at 30 plus years old, and he just doesn't have the same juice. But it's like, you have Nakua. You had at this point, still before Higbee's leg got ripped off, you still had 6'9" Higbee. Davis Allen, fantastic. If you're in deep, dynasty leagues, smart people picked up Davis Allen after watching him in the preseason. So, like, you have big targets in the red zone. Try something else. Get something designed. Like, you're a genius. It can't just be a fade route to Kupp, several fails, and you end up kicking field goals. That can't be.
You have Williams. Williams was running well, especially on that first drive when they kicked the field goal. Like you go all the way down there, and then you don't even hand it off to him one time. I was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, just hand it off to the running back sometime."
That is the one thing the Lions defense does well. They played the run well, I think, against everybody except for the Ravens, who pretty much just said, "It's cute what you guys are trying to do, but we're about to put a fucking foot in your ass."
Did you hear the stats about the Lions defense? All the linebackers lead the team in tackles.
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean,
that's what they're saying. That's why they're a better run zone defense, is because it benefits them when they get to the red zone with their linebackers out
there. Huh. I mean, they've invested a high round draft pick in it and spent money on Anzalone and re-signing Derek Barnes. Malcolm Rodriguez was a nice pickup last year, a late round pickup in the draft. So they've got good linebacker play. Should be.
And every time the Lions continue to move on, our page gets hit with Lion fans. So
we get a resurge of Lions fans back onto the page. Hey man, Lions fans have a reason to be happy. I'm happy for Lions fans. You guys go ahead and talk as much shit as you want in the comments. If someone responds to you, no, it was Joe. If someone responds to you
now, they either get the Eagles or the BUCS, and it works out better for them.
Yeah. Lions should be in the NFC Championship game. Like, this really should be an opportunity for them to potentially host 3 playoff games now. Like, if the 49ers come and slip up in the next game, next thing you know,
Green Bay versus Detroit to see who goes. You could, and I think it works out perfectly. But did you guys see Aiden Hutchinson's interview after the game? What he said when he goes, "We wanted the Cowboys, though. We all thought we were going to get the Cowboys again. We wanted to run it back against the Cowboys."
It shouldn't matter who you play. Just you should want to face everyone because it's the Super Bowl on the line here.
Again, I think that's like a young person who still thinks about revenge and not realizing how hard it is to win in the NFL. And you shouldn't. You should just want to. You should want to play whoever the best is, and the best is the team that won, and that's clearly not the Cowboys. Like, you guys got screwed. We all can agree with that.
Who do you think the Lions have a better chance at beating as of right this second? They should be both teams, in my opinion.
I think they.
But who do you think they want to see, Philly or Tampa?
Hang on, real quick. He was admitting they wanted to go on the road to Dallas. That's a real fuck.
Pretty much
in Detroit. Okay, continue. Ask the question.
So you can't have back-to-back playoff games.
Yeah, we wanted to go on the road to Dallas. Okay.
Yeah, you Detroit.
Yeah.
Which is more of a locked-in win for the Lions, the Eagles or the BUCS?
The Eagles, 1,000% to me. Like, what I believe he would do to that secondary, like what Ben Johnson would be able to scheme up. Like, you can go ahead and hit the over on Amon-Ra's, whatever his receiving totals are for that game. Josh Reynolds, sneaky play, Laporta. It wouldn't matter. They would all be, at least with the BUCS, what you have is a little bit more of the veterans. Hey, this is our last hurrah. Like, that's kind of why I feel like I picked the Eagles wrong today. I think you're going to get to see guys like Levante David who probably contemplate retirement. Like, do you want to move on and start over? Like, there's some older guys on this defense. There's some championship guys still here that were big parts of that defense where it's like, this is it. This is the last time we're all going to get to play together. Like, let's go out there and leave everything we got on the field.
Mike Evans is going to leave no prisoners. Tell you that much.
Mike, yeah, I've never heard of him.
I will have Mike Evans in every single over on every card that I fill out today for the game. Which, by the way, I'm getting brutal at picking everything. I can't hit anything on these.
And AJ Brown's great. And he could have already played his last game as a Philadelphia Eagle if they don't move on. But I think that's a big blow to the offense as well.
I think that if the Eagles lose today, we're going to see drama tonight from AJ Brown. Tonight.
Like all the shit, like he'll be like just throwing a bunch
Twitter.
Is AJ Brown been ruled out of the game?
He's out.
He's not playing. He's injured.
And
he removed all his Eagle stuff from his.
He removed all Eagle stuff from his social media, Tony. And at the end of last week on Thursday, Friday for the Eagles, last couple practices, I guess he was injured, so he's not going to practice anyways. but unannounced no-show. He didn't tell them he wasn't coming.
Send him back to the Titans. Send him back
They're
to
in
the
the playoffs. You don't want to help Quez Watkins and these guys get ready? Come on, AJ.
But also too, like they must have done something really egregious. Otherwise, bro, why are you doing this? Because this is not good for the next team that is going to trade for you. You just signed a big contract in Philly. Like, this isn't good for anybody. Like, if I was sometimes I imagine myself as an owner being somebody who's super spiteful, and I would say, okay, this is how you want to play. Good, go retire, because we have the rights to your contract, and if this is how you're going to act, you're playing football. And I don't care if it penalizes or hurts our team, but if this is the way you're going to act and treat the team, great. You won't play football until you are officially no longer under contract with the Philadelphia Eagles.
See, I'm right there with you, Tony. I hate the ultimatums. Like when you go, it's either this or that. Well, he's out, my guy. You could go sit your ass somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'd be the same way with you. I don't like that shit.
Someone needs to be an example. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what these receivers even want. You're the highest paid motherfucker in the league. You're not getting more money, no matter what the situation's like. They could not throw a single pass to you all season. You should probably be generally happy.
What's his target count, Ben? Like he's
the highest in the NFL. I know.
It's not like he's not getting.
The good thing is tonight they have number 80 on their team, and he's stepping up. And number 80 is probably the best wide receiver ever in their history.
That's like Stephon Diggs' situation. Like, I don't understand where you're going to demand to go that's going to be a better situation for you. I know he probably wants to be with the Cowboys. He probably wants to play with his brother. He probably wants to go over there and team up with CeeDee Lamb. But if I was in Stephon Diggs' shoes, I would be ecstatic to be the highest paid or second highest paid wide receiver in the league. And I got that dude throwing me the ball every single game like a maniac. Like, you're just giving me more and more and more and more opportunities to raise my star value.
Wait, hang on, let me understand this. He wants to play next to CeeDee Lamb, who's also getting 16 targets a game.
I don't know what he wants, because he's complaining and causing issues and almost got traded this last offseason, but he's getting all the targets. He's playing on a team with a year for Super Bowls. He's the highest paid receiver in the league. Like, what does A.J. Brown and Stephon Diggs want? What more can they get anywhere else?
They want to call the plays, Mike.
Nothing.
Let them be the offensive coordinators.
That's basically it, right? Fucking receivers, I swear, man. They got stereotypes on them, but these are the reasons why.
And so don't they have to? So this is year 3 for Devonta Smith, right? So now it's like they're going to give him the 5th-year option, but then he's probably thinking like, hey, I'd like to get a little more security. Let's get a long-term contract going. You give him the contract, and then you try to find a way to trade away A.J. Brown. Like, that's the thing, too, is like the Eagles seem like that kind of organization where it's like, you don't want to be here? Great, fine. We'll find a way to get rid of you. We'll find a way to trade you, but don't act like this. Like, the Eagles are the past however many years, they just been moving on from everybody. It's like, well, Carson Wentz, this isn't the good fit for you. You're gone, even though we just gave you all that money. Like Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, like they'll just move on from people. So I don't fully get the motives. I just feel like there's got to be something said or done to him that is like unforgivable.
Yeah, and the Eagles fleeced the Titans out of A.J. Brown. Like, they got an absolute steal, and the way it's turned, it's worked out. They went to the Super Bowl. They've had a leading receiver in the NFL multiple years in a row, and it just still isn't quite enough. I don't know what else he wants.
Does Brown have social media? Like, is he one of those guys who does like live streams or anything? Yes. Does he ever go on IG and just talk shit about?
You saw you probably didn't see it, but he deleted all of his Eagles posts already. He's taken it out of his bio. He's already done like the normal receiver thing that they do when they get a little bit upset at their team. And it's already like a huge issue. The Eagles offense is also set up, like they're not perfect this year, to just come back next year and find it with the new offensive coordinator. Like, they could be the best offense in the league again next year with A.J. Brown. If he just had a little bit of patience. Just a little bit.
So I think
going to win the Super Bowl every year after year.
I think he can kind of see the writing on the wall, right? Like they're going to need major overhaul in the secondary. There's going to be, what if Kelsey retires? What if some of these other vets move on, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, and all of a sudden you start looking around, the team's a lot younger. It's a little bit tougher. That's what I think makes it the hardest for Sirianni coaching next year, where it's like now you really have to come up in a big spot because you've lost a lot of veteran leadership on this team, and you're trying to revamp a defense and entrust that to somebody there. So because they have to get new game plan and new players in the secondary on that defense because it's bad every week. It's bad.
Yeah, today's game is huge for them because if they advance, then technically I think AJ Brown is probably going to be available for next weekend's game. So we'll see how it all unfolds.
Shouldn't he be? I didn't even know he was on the verge of missing time.
Yeah,
like
they ruled him out, I think, on Saturday or Friday night.
Yeah, the day after his no-show, they ruled him out. And then
I remember seeing the report about his no-show, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make a video about this. And then he got ruled out right after. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hold the video because clearly something's happening here. So I'm going to have a bigger story next week sometime.
Didn't he say oh, Jalen Hurts is my brother. This is why I want to play with the Eagles. This is so great. Aren't they kind of related through family or something too? Wasn't there I don't know.
Somebody gives a vote of confidence, it never works out.
Devonta Smith and him are skinny Batman, fast Batman, Quez Walker.
Batman,
all
the Batman stuff. I don't understand it.
Hey, honestly. So the first, let's transition a little bit. The first game today is the Bills and the Patriots, or Bills and the Steelers, and that should be a good one. I thought it was going to be a bad weather game, but it doesn't look bad. Have you guys seen the field lately?
Yeah, I was watching it on McAfee show. It looked great.
That's so
the field's great. But I don't know where the hell you're sitting at. And didn't they hire all these people for $20 an hour to come shovel it? And they were like, I'm sitting up here, so I'll shovel these top seats because that's my seat, but I'm not shoveling down here.
So here's the thing.
Did you see the videos of all those adult men playing in the snow in Bill's Stadium? Yeah. They were shoveling, they were having snowball fights and shit.
Shirtless. When you grow up around lake effect snow, it gets so in my hometown, they got 24 inches of snow last night. When you get lake effect snow, that stuff comes in 2-3 feet at a time. So even if they shoveled up until last night, and then all of a sudden it's just whatever, if the lake's not frozen over and I don't know how big, I don't know what water they're on right there. If that just isn't frozen over the lake, it's just going to snow's just going to be coming in crazy amounts. And snow drifts, and it'll all pile up on one side. One side of your town could be fine because it's not affected by the lake, and then the other side of the town will just be massively covered in feet and feet and feet of snow.
Yeah, they said it was. They said people were shoveling at 3 a.m. still.
That's wild, and it still looks like that. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and you still can't get your seats in.
Damn, man, why can't we get an opportunity to go shovel snow at SoFi? How fun would that be? The TikToks would be glorious.
Would it surprise you guys? Would it be a bigger upset today for Pittsburgh to beat the Bills than it was yesterday for the Packers to beat the Cowboys?
No. It wouldn't be.
Which one would be a bigger upset in your mind?
Yesterday's upset was way bigger because yes, Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, but we all can agree that we think Mike Tomlin is a better coach than LaFleur. And maybe it'll bear out over time. That won't be the case. Maybe LaFleur will go on and win multiple Super Bowls, and him and Jordan Love will have this historic career. But right now, Mike Tomlin putting together a game plan to go and upset Josh Allen, what if Josh Allen comes out and has a game like he had against the Jets in week 1, where he's just out there throwing 4 or 5 interceptions in a game? The Steelers are going to find a way to win that game, to me, pretty easily.
That's what I think.
If it's a defensive game and Steelers are just running the ball perfectly, I could see it just being a bad game for Buffalo.
You guys see the stat on Josh Allen, and this is something that this motherfucker should be focused in ahead of every single game. I'm not saying play scared. Let me put this one up on the locker. Hey, buddy, the Bills are 26-0 or something 20-0 when Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over. It's insane. Like, it's an insane amount of games that they've won in a row when he doesn't turn the ball over once in the game.
Yeah, but what are they when he does turn the ball over?
Probably not very good, because that seems like if that number is that high, that would be all their wins over the last couple of years.
It's probably more. It's probably closer to 500 record because they still win a lot of games. So it's probably
they were 6-6 at one point this year, right? And then they went on the run and became it. And he's had a turnover in the last 8 games.
Yeah.
Right now, you are undefeated, unbeatable if you just be smart with the ball. Yeah, I don't think he's going to. I just think that he should have that posted up somewhere as a reminder. Like, hey, man, like, if I'm just a little bit careful, we have a very high % chance of winning every single game because of all the other stuff that the dude can do with the football other than throw it to the other team.
I mean, if you want to try to change somebody, I mean, you can do what you want. Like, look at Dak. He didn't throw 10 interceptions this year. He saved them all for the playoffs. I mean, maybe Josh Allen just doesn't want to change.
It's not about changing. It's just about improving as a football player. It's crazy.
But
it's crazy because in his last game that he played, I saw him roll right and throw across his body left off his back foot.
So the things that this is always what we talk about with whoever it is, whether it's Dan Campbell and the 4th down decisions or whatever it is, the thing that makes players exciting will eventually be sort of the downfall in this. Whenever you talk about like the risky players. So Josh Allen can't seem to understand that in week 1 against the Jets, 4 plays in, Rodgers' Achilles blows out. It's like, dude, just play regular football in this game and you guys are going to win by 2 scores. Like this, what are we doing, Josh, when we have big leads against bad teams and you allow them, like that Buccaneers game where they almost won it on a Hail Mary to Godwin or whatever. How are you losing to the Patriots? He lost to Zach Wilson and Mac Jones this year in head-to-head matchups. Like that's not good to have on the resume. But it's not that he lost to them. Like he lost the game for his own team, just making poor decisions. Yeah. So if Josh were to take the advice that Tom Brady tried to give him on the Let's Go podcast a few months ago, did you ever see that video? It's a great video where Tom Brady is like telling Josh, hey, chill, like make the smart decision. Hey, Josh, it's okay to check down once in a while. And Josh is like, yeah, I know, but I'm just being me. And Tom's like, yep, there we go. That's what I expected, Josh.
Yeah. That's the difference between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, man. That Patrick Mahomes, he pulls that out of the hat when it's time to be pulled out of the hat. He isn't trying to pull the magician shit on every single play. And hopefully Josh Allen can reel that in and go on a playoff run this year. I've always said I wanted to see the Ravens versus Cowboys. A close second Super Bowl that I would love to see this year is the Bills versus Lions. How fun would that Super Bowl be? That would be a blast. You have a bunch of exciting players on the field. Both teams haven't won the Super Bowl before, so someone's getting crowned for the first time. It would be so perfect. And the only way that's possible is if Josh goes through these playoffs with 2 or 3 turnovers.
I'm back,
but it'll be interesting. Simply Dab.
He's here. Tank for MHJ, and he wasn't far off. Simply Dab. Bro.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting MHJ, but you were close, bro.
Exactly,
close.
But the tank part is wild to think that you would say that at the beginning of the season with the roster that they had. Like it should have never. We don't need to talk about the Chargers. They are not relevant at this point. The Chargers are not relevant until they hire a coach worth talking about. Which
were you guys upset that the Eminem got as much treatment as Taylor Swift last night?
That was good. I was excited to see Eminem. Fuck Taylor Swift.
So we're okay with Eminem. We like Eminem. We like showing clips of Eminem. Okay. I just want to know. Hey, as a person who doesn't understand why everybody's so pissed off about showing fans in the stands, I just want to know.
You know what was funny is when they showed that old ass man in the stands, and they were like, "This guy was around the last time the Lions went to a championship game or something like that." I was like, thinking to myself, I was like, that could be me for the fucking Raiders right there. 80 years old, like I never watched my team. Like The last time they won was when I was in high school. And I'm like, God damn, like that just made me sad.
I told you guys that my grandfather would tell me stories about Bobby Lane. And like before I had the internet, I was like, I don't even know how to look this up. Like you got to go to the library and look at microfiche, like film clips, like scroll through like old archives to see when the Lions would win, like pre-internet days. So like it's not a joke, the history, like it's legit just barren of any success.
Well, I was waiting for you to bring us a video of him like celebrating the win.
What, Bobby Lane or
wait, my grandfather in the hospital? Yeah. I don't have video of it.
Like
he's like watching the game with a bunch of other vet Lions fans.
Oh,
but
perfect.
again, like I don't want to get into this. I don't talk to him very much because he doesn't have, his memory's not good. Let's just leave it there.
Your connection to the Lions, though. Your ties to the Lions going on a Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. And my best friends growing up too and in the military, Broncos fans, Seahawks fans, fucking Chiefs fans, Eagles fans, Cowboys fans, you name it. I grew up in Los Angeles, so it's just a mixing pot of bandwagons. But they always tease me like the Chargers haven't had any success for all this time. They're going to keep losing. They're going to keep losing. And I kept telling them, mathematically, it is impossible. It's not impossible. It is very unlikely that the Chargers are going to continue to do this for my entire lifetime too, like they did the previous generation of fans' lifetime. And I argued on that for years and years and years. And so far, they're still right, and I'm still very wrong.
But they went to the Super Bowl in 94. You were born in what, 96?
97.
So
the whole lifetime.
Yeah, that is what, from 1960 they officially became a team. So you're
Here's
looking
the problem,
at
Tony.
What happened?
Here's the problem, Tony. Is that one gleaming moment, that one Super Bowl run and loss ended at the hands of the 49ers, who all of my family are fans of and were alive for and bring up as much as they possibly can. This is why I'm talking.
How convenient for your family who's from Southern California that had multiple teams at the time that they became fans of. They were just fans of Joe Montana and Steve Young and just became bandwagon fans. Why don't you tell them that a little bit of loyalty? Although you guys know I don't believe in that shit. So good for them. They picked the winner.
I had a video planned, and I may still bring it out on a dark day where I don't have any ideas, which is next to never. But I'm going to bring out this video idea again where I just go on this long rant and just roast all of the Los Angeles Cowboys, Raiders, 49ers fans. Like, you're more loyal to a fucking team than your city. Los Angeles should burn to the ground.
Okay, I can't wait for that totally morbid, dark video. Let's end this. I know Mike's got to go. I've got some shit to get done too. Joe's got a life to live. LA Spike here.
He's here.
Says Belichick gonna end up the Cowboys coach. Like, do we think that this image right here, rocking the visor, cut off?
Like he already cut the Cowboys hoodie. Like he already got one and cut the sleeves off. Like it's like I'm ready.
He's just trying it on. He's going to like how does this fit? How does this? How do I look in this big old star?
I actually would like to see Belichick as the coach of the Cowboys, but we got to see McCarthy fired first. That's the first step.
Did you see Jason Garrett yesterday when he was talking? He was like, well, I already know how Jerry Jones is going to do it. He's going to take a couple days. He's going to back him for the next 2 days, and then he'll be in there in the office talking to him. So once I heard Jason Garrett say that, I was like, okay, it's not going to happen tonight, but we could be seeing
5 days by next weekend.
Yeah, like I was like, Jason Garrett's been through this a couple times, so yeah, I'm sure he knows.
Jerry's a smart guy. So Jerry is he's going to take some time. He's going to think about this. He's going to find out who his options would be if he decides to move on. He's going to find out, like, what are the chances that I could get Bill Belichick? Do I want to put in a call to guys like Pete Carroll and Saban and Harbaugh? Like, do I want to poke around kind of, without tampering or doing something illegal that'll cost us draft picks? Do I want to see who would be the next Cowboys guy? if I got rid of McCarthy, because it's a similar situation that happened with the Titans. If you're going to fire Mike Vrabel, please tell me that there's a plan if we're getting rid of a top 8 coach. Like, I don't want to go too high, but like Mike Vrabel, like we have to have one game. We got to find a way to win it. Like, they shouldn't have beat the Jaguars the final week of the season. But Vrabel was like, I'm going to throw a big FU to everybody. And the defense plays spectacularly. Now, you can't do that every week when you're undermanned, under talent, but like, Vrabel's a top 10 coach, and they just moved off of him. What's the game plan? If you're moving off Mike McCarthy, you got to have a game plan. And Jerry's smart enough to know that.
Yeah, because Mike McCarthy would probably get hired this cycle back into another team as a head coach somewhere. One of these teams that are not as desirable probably will pick him up.
Hey, and they used your line on the broadcast last night, Tony, from Mike McCarthy. Whoever was calling the Cowboy game, I don't remember, but he said that about the coaching carousels, and he used exactly what you said. If you have a coach that you think that's not going to get hired in the cycle, and why are you still holding on to him? Like, if you think if you let Mike McCarthy go today and you don't think somebody else is going to pick him up, then you shouldn't be having him as your head coach. I heard that on the broadcast yesterday.
I do agree that. I do agree with that. Like, if there's not going to be some intrigue in the guy that's coaching for your team, then he should not be intriguing to you, because it's such a sought after thing. It's almost kind of like with the quarterback situation. Like, what's the market? How many legit teams would go after your quarterback? I still think Dak is in that situation where it's like, if he was a free agent, I think there would be enough like high level competitive football teams that would still be going after Dak. If McCarthy was a free, like, available to be hired right now, and Harrison, plug your ears, the Panthers don't count, bro. Like, if David Tepper's in you, that doesn't mean that you are a viable candidate, like, for a job. So what teams would be looking at McCarthy? I don't think that they're trying to do that here in LA. I don't think Arthur Blank's trying to bring that down to Atlanta. Like, Seattle, I don't think is moving in that direction. So, like, I'm not sure Mike McCarthy really would have a job. Maybe Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know I don't know enough about Adam Peters to think, or Josh Harris to think that they'd want to bring in somebody older who's flamed out with unlimited resources.
There's 2 teams I think would be interesting if the jobs aren't open yet. Is either Tampa or Pittsburgh. I think either one of those teams will be interested in bringing in someone with some experience.
Sure, and actually, Mike McCarthy's from Pittsburgh, so it's like that's a cool little kind of full circle moment for him. But also, like, the Steelers, to me, feel like if they're moving on, they're gonna go and, like, they hire, and it's like, we're going to mate for life, whatever that is. Like, we're going to be together for a long time. So I don't think that they would go to Mike McCarthy. Like, they would be looking.
Yeah, because he's going to be like a 5-year max if things go perfectly type situation.
Yeah.
But how did they find Tomlin? Did Tomlin come up through their coaching staff?
No. He was the Minnesota defense coordinator.
Minnesota?
Yeah, he was, I think he was with, I want to say the BUCS before that. And then he got moved over to Minnesota, and somebody told Mr. Rooney, like, hey, you should at least interview this guy. And he came in and was so impressive. They were like, we need to hire this guy. Like, this guy's going to be a legit coach in this league. And sure enough, he was. I could see them doing something like giving strong consideration to somebody like Brian Flores, who didn't Flores go there and coach for a minute after, when he was like trying to figure things out with Tomlin? So they have some familiarity with him. They know he was successful. They love that somebody would come in and continue to commit to that identity of, like, the steel curtain, like that defensive culture that they have there. So I could see them in a situation that Tomlin was gone saying Brian Flores is a guy we want to give a good look at.
I'd like that fit.
I know we got to go, but I just want to say I sent you guys a text right now. I'm not like Mike. I'm not a big TikToker guy, but anytime I get like somebody famous that likes my post, I think it's awesome. Jeff Garcia, old quarterback, liked one of my posts today. So I made my day.
There he is. All-time Raider great.
Yeah.
And it was about Antonio Pierce being the head coach of the Raiders.
Was Jeff Garcia a Raider?
There you go.
No.
I don't think so either. Yeah. I know he played for the Niners, the Eagles,
Browns,
the Bucks, the like 5 teams or whatever. I couldn't
Joe,
remember.
how many followers you got on TikTok?
I don't know, 14,000.
Doing good.
This fucking guy over here. I ain't no big Joe or anything.
Yeah, it's 14,000 more than
14,000
me,
followers.
guys. Joe's moving up. Between me and Joe, we got 14,000 followers on TikTok.
Mike, you have like what 200,000. So when a big name person like still likes your post or comments on you, like it's still like I think that's still like a fan, like the fan in us comes out and we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
if
for
Tony,
sure.
like I had Tony Tucker like my stuff yesterday, and that was like, whoo, Tony
It's a big
Tucker.
moment. That's a big moment.
I have a lot of moments where I didn't realize that I engaged with a famous person until like months later, and it's like, oh shit, how did I not see this?
I try to withhold any praise. You know, like I try to really make you earn it. I don't want you feeling good about yourself just because that I've seen your videos.
Tony's
Yeah,
one
so
of those guys that will give you the like and then take it back.
Yep. Oh, and I actually set myself a reminder to double back later and just like unlike it, just so there's no trail of me ever liking that post. So you better screenshot it if you see it.
I mean, just stop doing that, Tony, because I'm like 20,000 likes away from 10 million. So I'd appreciate it if you'd stop doing that. Everyone counts.
Oh, I'm going
it
to
back,
scroll
Tony.
through and unlike all 700
No.
videos now.
It's gonna go down. I'm gonna need like 45 more likes.
Can you just create another burner account, Tony, and then help Mike out?
The funny thing is I have multiple burner accounts titled Tony Tucker's burner account. So in case anyone, if I put anything up shitty, they come looking for Tony, not me.
That's hilarious.
But I think that's a good way to close it.
Yes, all they'd have to do is like ask me to operate something on the internet, and they'd be like, "There's no way this guy can." I was trying to figure out how to repost something on TikTok, and I couldn't. I was like, "There used to be a repost button around here. I don't know where it went."
It's still there. I'll show you later.
It's done.
We'll see you guys next time we're live. It's key that you turn on notifications if you want to be here when we do go live. Shout out to LA Spike. Shout out to Simply Dab, Joker, Harrison, the Gamer Boy, everyone that's in the chat today and usually in the chat, probably in the chat because their notifications were on and it told them, hey, MJT Football's live. Go talk to them. So please do that. Appreciate everyone tuning in to this one. Anything else, Joe?
No.
We done boys, Tony?
No, I didn't know is LA Spike a Raiders fan?
Yeah. Let's
What?
talk.
I know he's funny. He makes me laugh. I just didn't know he was a Raiders fan.
Yeah, don't laugh at his jokes anymore.
Yeah.
We them boys. Yeah. Hold on.
Here we go.